Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much for joining us this evening. Please be seated. And I hope you had a moment to read our acknowledgement to our friends and neighbors in the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam Nation. And also, as you may have heard, they recently had our friends in the Squamish recently had their elections, and someone very familiar to all of us, Wilson Williams, was elected by acclamation as the chair. He has served as on our police board, and we look forward to working with him and his new council. So with the meeting called to order, could I ask for a motion to approve the agenda? Councillor Snyder, please.
Yes, I recommend that the October 6, 2026 council regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. And now, a wonderful tradition in our community, we welcome members of our Legion. Gentlemen.
Your worship and members of council, my name is Bill Woods, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 60 West Vancouver president. I'm happy to be here, of course, and want to just thank members of council for their support of the Legion for almost a century. We're going to give you a plaque tonight to acknowledge that. The Legion has, as you know, the branch is down on 18th Street, and you honored us further recently with the naming and designation of a Veterans Way, a signpost or placard. It's appreciated. Our location was acquired through the efforts of West Van Council District at Lawson Street in the 1930s. And we've been there ever since. The history of the Legion started just after the Memorial Arch in 1925 was erected. So Dominion Command was incorporated by Act of Parliament in 1926. There were a handful of Legion branches which were given a charter in 1926 as well. Next year will be the 100th anniversary of the West Vancouver Legion. It is the most senior Legion on the North Shore. And as I said, a handful of Legions throughout British Columbia will be 100 years old in the founding of the Legion of Canada. The nice thing about the Legion is that we do a lot of charity work. And we're hoping that this year will be the year that we can break $100,000 in charitable donations, our core mission, and we thank the council for its support over the years of supporting veterans and first responders. And we have expanded robustly to be giving money to other charitable organizations, seniors groups, children, wherever we can find a cause that we can afford, we try and help. We donate our meeting hall to police, fire, bus drivers. Our latest project will be for a art class for autistic children. So we try to do the best we can with the resources we have. And I'm going to just turn around here and point out a few of our members. You may recognize Steve Cochran. He's been an inspiration for a generation of Legionnaires, and particularly to me. Dal McCrindle, who this year was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal of the Royal Canadian Legion, which is the highest award that can be given to a Legionnaire for service to the Legion and his community.
Congratulations.
Yes. He is also the voice of the Remembrance Day ceremony that you have every year on November the 11th. He organizes everything. He also is the person at the helm of the ship that distributes all of our charitable donations and bursaries through the community. Primarily the North Shore. There are some veterans homes off the North Shore that we donate to, but most of it is driven by this gentleman behind. I've said everything that I have to say, and I'm going to turn it over to Bob Overgard.
Mr. Woods, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. I am the Awards and Recognition Officer for the West Vancouver Legion. And the Legion's Friendship Award, it sounds very simple. And it was invented a long time ago, but it is the highest award that can be offered to individuals or organizations outside the Legion itself. It comes from Dominion Command in Ottawa and consists of a plaque that honors the relationship of council support for our Legion over the last century almost. And it is signed by the President of the Royal Canadian Legion. A full citation, and it's a full 2 pages, I filed with Mr. Chook, who will put it into the record. And I'm gonna only read one part of that citation, which is the one I think that everyone will recognize, and that's the most visible to everybody. Many years ago, the district, with support from the Legion, established Memorial Park, the centerpiece feature of this part of West Vancouver, which recognizes the sacrifice of Canadians in war and the service of returning veterans. Every November 11th, thousands of our citizens occupy the Memorial Park area, the setting for a moving ceremony at the cenotaph. The Legion and the district cooperate in the production of this ceremony. Specifically, the district provides decoration of the main streets of West Vancouver. That's a really important symbol. Preparation of Memorial Park to ensure that it's safe, attractive, and a good experience for all our citizens to walk through it during and after the ceremony. You provide staff to assist with the setup, the chairs, canopies, all those little details that make it work. And of course, traffic and crowd control to maintain a safe and orderly spectator experience. Police and first responders are always there to assist anybody who gets into trouble or needs help. And you encourage your public safety officers to participate fully in our parades, and they are by far the largest group. Now that example is only one of an extensive citation, which I said has been filed. And this award is a token of our appreciation for all the ways you support our central mission. Thank you very much for your support. I'm sorry it took so long.
No, gentlemen, on
May I
behalf.
approach your worship?
Absolutely. On behalf of all of us on council and the previous councils, we accept this with great gratitude and appreciation. And really our gratitude is to you for maintaining this vital part of our community, this organization that means so much to all of us. So we thank you for your efforts. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Councillor Snyder, could I ask you to make a formal motion?
I think Councillor.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Thompson. My mistake.
Thank you. As always, it's terrific to see you, and it seems like you're even expanding your community contributions more and more each year. Very impressive. So with that and your presentation, I'd like to recommend that the delegation from the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 60, West Vancouver, regarding your presentation and Friendship Award to Council be received for information with thanks and gratitude.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert. Thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in November. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we'll go to item number 4, geese mitigation. Ms. Lawler. Where's that? Oh, everyone can see it.
So close. So close. That's nice. Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tiffany Bentley. I'm the Parks Environmental Operations Manager, and I will be presenting on the geese mitigation report for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Bentley.
The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of the impacts Canada geese are having in our parks and to outline options for enhanced mitigation in 2026. Some background, Canada geese are native to Canada and naturally migratory, but some conservation work that occurred in the 70s resulted in a southern Canada resident population. This resident population does not migrate, and they have adapted very well to urban parks where lawns, water features, and shoreline areas provide ideal conditions for their grazing and nesting. In West Vancouver, the most significant impacts are seen in Horseshoe Bay Park, Thunder Ave Park, Ambleside Sports Fields, and on our Great Lawn at the Community Center. The presence of geese in these high-profile spaces have the following key impacts: accumulation of feces on beaches, pathways, playgrounds, and sports fields, which create health and safety concerns, damage to grass on fields and in parks as they pull out grass shoots to eat and dig holes to allow water to collect, reduced usability and enjoyment of our public spaces, and sometimes conflicts with field and park users when geese are physically in the way of human use. While we do know we have some population of geese here in the district, we do not currently have any population survey data on Canada goose abundance and distribution within West Vancouver. Geese are highly mobile, often crossing municipal boundaries and private and property lines, meaning that those found in West Vancouver parks may be nesting on private property or in other nearby municipalities. Studies done by others have shown that they can move easily across large distances, such as between Stanley Park and the North Shore, and one example of a goose banded in Coquitlam was shortly after found in Vancouver. This population data gap limits our ability to develop a longer-term strategy and means we can't apply for federal permits needed for other mitigation options. In 2025, we piloted a number of measures. At Horseshoe Bay Park, we reduced mowing and irrigation, which led to less fresh grass shoots and fewer geese grazing. We also piloted some shoreline fencing, which initially reduced goose activity, but was discontinued due to some public complaints. The water feature at the playground was also turned off in Horseshoe Bay for the summer, which was effective at reducing geese in that particular area. At the community center, we managed the water feature. We turned it off for the summer, which was we turned it off in August, sorry, which effectively discouraged geese in that area. And at the Ambleside Sport Fields, we've been doing weekly surface cleaning to reduce feces accumulation at some fields. Canada geese are creating persistent impacts in West Vancouver's most popular parks. Our current measures provide only limited relief, and we have increasing complaints and maintenance demands. We don't yet have the baseline data on nesting and population levels, and without that data, we cannot determine whether the local geese population justifies other measures, and if it does justify further measures, that data is required when making an application for federal permits. So for 2026, staff are recommending the following key actions. First, engage a consultant to conduct nesting and molting surveys. Second, increase pressure washing in high-use park areas. Third, provide additional labor dedicated to feces collection. Fourth, purchase a second fecal waste collector to expand our cleaning capacity. And lastly, augment shoreline plantings in Horseshoe Bay Park to act as a visual barrier. Together, these measures will improve immediate conditions for park users and begin building the information base required for a longer-term management plan. In 2025, our one-time costs totaled approximately $1,800, and this was primarily related to the Horseshoe Bay fencing pilot. The 2026 request is for a $12,000 one-time increase to the operating budget and a $16,000 capital request. The $12,000 in one-time funding would support a geese nesting and molting survey to help us better understand nesting locations, population composition, and the park use during the non-flight or molting period. We're seeking advance approval for this funding ahead of the 2026 budget process so that we can secure a contracted biologist in time for them to plan the nesting surveys and be ready when nesting starts in February. And the $16,000 capital request is for a second fecal waste collection unit to expand our capacity there. As for annual operating costs, in 2025, they were approximately $7,800, which included some additional pressure washing and labor for running the feces collector. For 2026, with the proposed enhanced program, the cost would be approximately $22,400, which is an increase of approximately $14,600. This increase would allow for additional contracted pressure washing and additional staff labor for running the second feces collector. So in conclusion, the proposed actions I outlined for 2026 will help mitigate immediate health, safety, and aesthetic concerns while providing the data to inform potential future mitigation strategies that support applications for potential future federal permits. And that concludes the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Ms. Bentley. The first question will be from Councillor Gambioli.
Thank you. A couple questions. Just about the way the funding is proposed. I'm not sure if it's just the way it's written, but what about withdrawing those funds from the revenues that we're earning from pay parking in these parks? Or is that just part of the same fund now?
Through to Councillor Gambioli, if that's a direction of council, then that's something staff could consider. I know Ms. Gordon would just say any reduction in the overall pay parking revenue does have an impact. But if that's council's wish, then that's something that could be put forward.
Well, I would propose that because we did say that we're charging for pay parking to improve services in parks. And it seems like a pretty direct correlation to me, especially if it's an operating expense that we think is going to continue. But I know that the last one, the operating request of $14,600 on an ongoing basis, maybe we won't have to have it for an ongoing basis, after a few years, who knows? Meanwhile, I used to really sort of scofflaw at kids who ran and chased after birds in parks. And now I feel like, oh, maybe we should hire some of those kids. But seriously, what about the question of using, maybe we're not this far along, but what about the idea of using the hawks that they use in some places like Granville Island? Does that work for geese or maybe not?
Ms. Bentley?
Yeah, through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, that is something that is done. It is considered hazing, so it does require a permit.
Oh, it's considered hazing.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Well, anyways, I support, that's really cool. Those hawks are so neat. And I support that 100% if we find that that's, where we need to go. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy?
So I guess about 2 years ago, this subject came up. And 2 years ago, I asked if there had been any communication with the various communities in the Lower Mainland to lobby together to go to the federal government to ask the federal government permission to cull. And when I say cull, I don't mean going out and killing the birds, although that might be delightful. Cull in the sense of birth control. Because years ago in the 60s and the 70s and so forth, you used to see them in Stanley Park and they were adorable. They were very cute with little goslings crossing the roadway and such like. But now they have become an absolute nuisance. You cannot use Horseshoe Bay Park in the summertime. The people are complaining that we're spending money to protect, as their term, not my term, flying rats. You can't go through the grass because the grass is covered in feces. we accepted a small fortune in community amenity contributions for a lovely park. We spent a small fortune on that lovely park for children to be able to play. They can't play. There's feces underneath the swings and so forth. And really, it makes the use of the park out there pointless. And in the summertime, when you come out to Dunderave, it's just as bad. The Dunderave beach, the steps going down to the waterfront are completely covered in feces. And the same story around the water fountain at Ambleside, the community center there. So what are we spending more money on to find out how they're reproducing? We know they're reproducing. Why don't we spend some money and get together with the other municipalities? Have we done anything along those lines?
Thank you. Ms. Bentley, any comments?
Yeah, through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, we have spoken with other municipal staff and there have been attempts at some regional coordination. There are challenges with regard to each jurisdiction having separate budgeting timelines and processes and slightly different priorities. And so to collaborate regionally, each participating municipality has to commit financially to a certain amount to work on a plan together, and it hasn't happened yet. But we are certainly working with our neighbors and neighboring municipalities to share information about what's working. In terms of birth control, or the technique that's usually used is egg addling. So the eggs are collected and or swapped out for eggs that are not viable. That is definitely an option that other municipalities are doing, but it does require a permit. And to get that permit, you do need to show that you're collecting data on the population that you have, and show that you're trying other methods as well. It's typically needs to be a kind of a fulsome approach.
Well, a couple of years ago, again, when you first came to council on this subject, I mentioned or referenced the province of New Brunswick, who loaded a number of geese into a truck and sent them on their way. And they had federal permission. Has there been any thought to contact that community and find out just what they did to achieve permission?
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, I believe that over time, some of those efforts have changed, and typically relocation is not something that's permitted anymore.
They didn't relocate them. They sent them to meet their maker.
Yeah, I would have to look into that more, that one.
Well, I mean, it's been 2 years since I brought this up, 2 years ago. And it was in the front page of the Globe and Mail what this community had gotten permission to do, because they were beset with these birds and their various problems. And they got federal permission to put them in a truck and make sure they didn't see the light of day.
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, we must do the survey in order to qualify for any federal permits. So the first step in the process is this survey.
But it just seems to me that we just keep throwing good money and we're just going nowhere.
We haven't yet done a survey, so that once we can do that, then we can take further additional steps.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, please.
Well, if no one else is going to
Would you make a motion?
speak, I'll make the motion, and I do have some comments. So I will make the motion as written. Is there a seconder?
Thank you, Councillor Lambert.
Okay, well, it's interesting because I think the first thing I questioned too was why do we have to do another survey? But if it is to permit, launch all our ability to be effective, I certainly can support that. It was shocking to see Horseshoe Bay Park particularly. I've noticed it around the other areas you mentioned, but Horseshoe Bay was incredible. And I think the fencing that was put up was quite unsightly and then ultimately ineffective. And I know we had a couple of people write in and talk about planting that you could do that could be more effective. Anyway, happy to support this motion and go forward. I hope that this is kind of a first year up and running fee, and we can see a reduction in this as we learn more about what we're doing and find better ways to mitigate. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So I just wonder if do we need to do any amendment to this motion if we were interested in taking the money from the pay parking specifically, or is that just
Ms. Gordon, sorry to put
looking
you
at-
on the spot.
I mean, I don't know what others think about that. No one else has mentioned it, so
I think it's a friendly amendment.
I just don't want to see it.
You were-
more-
Sorry.
Sorry,
Ms.
your
Gordon.
worship, what they're asking for is a one-time contribution, so not a permanent budget adjustment. I
So
believe.
there's three
Well, yeah,
different
through the budget,
requests.
they're asking for it, but I'm talking about the $12,000.
Right, yeah,
I believe that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And that's to do this study that's
Yes.
been mentioned. And there are several sources of funds that could be used, but if council feels it's appropriate to tie that back to the pay parking. If council supports having that study done, well, the money will have to come from somewhere. And yes, it will affect, the ability of the pay parking revenue to possibly support other things. But if council feels that's an appropriate use of the funds, that can certainly be done.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson is the mover of the motion. Is that a friendly amendment?
Yes, it makes sense, but it also makes sense to perhaps come from the environmental fund.
It could come from the environmental fund, so that's,
So how do we? best make
and
that one?
especially as a one-time source of funds, that would have been probably something I might recommend, yes.
Okay, I would suggest the environmental fund, but open to pursuing the Parks
No,
Fund.
is that a friendly amendment, Councillor Snyder? Would you?
Nora,
Sorry, it was Councillor Lambert.
Councillor Lambert.
That's a friendly, okay. Councillor Gambioli.
yeah, I guess so. Sure, I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference, but
Okay, I do. Thank you very much. I think those are the questions for our staff. Councillor Cassidy.
but having said that.
That's the motion.
But having said that, I mean, for argument's sake, it's much more of a park issue
Hmm.
than it is an environmental issue, right? We're trying to build up money to stop, floods and sea level rise and things that are gonna cost, many millions of dollars. So I don't know, I see it tied a lot closer to parks than I do to general environment.
so should we call the question?
Okay, Councillor Cassidy.
I disagree with that. We're not going to be using parking money for this issue. I see it as an environmental issue. And that's one I would support, the environment fund.
Okay, well, that is the motion that's been moved and seconded with a friendly amendment, so that's what's before us. If we have no more questions, I'm just recognizing there's one person standing at the back, and I'm not sure whether that's. Okay, just wanted to make sure you didn't want to, thank you.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna call the question.
yeah, and I
Mayor
just,
Sager,
Sorry, yes,
I just want to confirm over here.
yes,
I just wanted to confirm for the friendly amendment, that's to number 2, so funded by the Environment
Yes.
Reserve Fund, and then under 3, is that same?
that stays the same, I believe.
Okay.
Okay,
yes, yeah. So if I can just kind of put a bow on this discussion, I think the parks fee was installed for all the visitors coming to our park are creating kind of a mess that we need to control, but I don't think we can charge the geese any parking fees. And, truly, environment has anything to do with the force of nature. That's beyond our control. And I think this is quite suitable for the environment
Okay.
fund.
we have a motion in front of us. I'm gonna call a question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thanks very much. We'll go to item number 5, the 5-year capital plan. Councillor Gambioli, please.
Right, so I will recommend that proposed 5-year financial plan bylaws.
I think we could do
Can I
them as
just
there
read
is,
them as written?
as written. I think
Can I do that? Staff are okay with that? Yes?
we're gonna
Okay.
do them all at
So,
once. as
okay,
written.
so I'll recommend that all of the proposed 5-year financial plan bylaws be read as written.
First, second, and third time, and that's seconded by Councillor Lambert. I'll call a question. Or any discussion? Question, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 6, preliminary development proposal 1763 Bellevue. Councillor Snyder, please. Are we gonna have
Do we
a,
want to have the report-
presentation?
Presentation first?
okay,
Yes.
let's have the presentation first.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the public. For consideration tonight is a preliminary development proposal for 1763 Bellevue Avenue, which is also known as the Masonic Hall site. So here you can see a photo showing the site from the street. This site's in the middle of the photo there. You can see it's a two-story existing, the former Masonic Hall site. And the site's within the commercial area of Ambleside. Oh, and I should just note that the site is zoned for community use. So it's zoned CU3, which would allow for redevelopment of the site to a maximum of 3 stories with community use. And then here you can see the immediate surrounding context. You can see it's quite a mixed area with the 15-story Hollyburn Plaza site immediately to the west, and then the BC Hydro building and substation immediately to the south across Bellevue. And then immediately to the east, there's a 1-story commercial building with surface parking. And then to the north, there's low-rise mixed use and commercial buildings in the Ambleside commercial area. So council, as council will probably recall, has considered various development proposals going back more than a decade, with one more recently in 2021. And you can see a rendering of that preliminary proposal on the screen there. And that at that time, what was proposed was a 9-story mixed-use building with 28 residential units, including 6 non-market residential units and 5 commercial office units. At that time, no community use space was included in the proposal, and council did not support the proposal advancing in advance of the local area plan for Ambleside. So here you can see a rendering of the current proposal before council tonight. It's also for a 9-story mixed-use building. In this case, there's 2 commercial office units fronting onto Bellevue Avenue. And then one significant change with this proposal is that the 2nd story is dedicated as community use space with a dedicated outdoor space. And the applicant has let us know that the intent, if the application proceeds, would be to transfer ownership of that community use space to the district for use by the district. And then finally, on the upper levels of the building are 24 market strata residential apartment units. The floor area ratio is just under 3.5, and there's also 43 parking stalls for vehicles and 51 for bicycles included in the proposal. And you can see on the rendering there that the vehicle access is proposed off Bellevue Avenue. So just in terms of relevant policy considerations, with the proposal coming in advance of completion of the local area plan, policy 2.1.15 from the official community plan is applicable. And that allows consideration of rezoning applications that include community benefit, but subject to council's discretion. And that's why we're here at this preliminary stage tonight. As well, with a proposal to redevelop an existing institutional site, there's policy 2.1.6, which prioritizes community use and delivery of housing objectives when considering redevelopment of institutional sites. And then council and the community will recall that the site is within the commercial stream area of the local area planning for Ambleside. And council did consider a draft for that commercial area in May of this year, although that was not given first reading at the time. The draft policy directions for this site, you can see an excerpt with the rendering there on the screen showing a potential redevelopment of the subject site for the Masonic Hall. And the direction within that, the draft policy calls for a mixed use development between 3.5 and 4 floor area ratio and up to 10 to 12 stories in height, with 1 story dedicated as community use space. So as described, you can see that the proposal generally does align with those draft directions within the commercial area for the draft local area plan, noting that council hasn't given readings to that at this point. So if the application was to proceed, the next step would be for the applicant to host public consultation. And when we've looked at the proposal at a high level, and some of the things that we think would have further exploration and receive community feedback would be to do with site planning and detailed design development of the development proposal, as well as location and function of the community use space. And vehicle access is one of the things that we think would warrant further review at the next stage. So to conclude, we are recommending that the preliminary proposal proceed in advance of the Ambleside local area plan, and that's because it includes community use space along with housing units. It would enable redevelopment of an underutilized space and would allow for public feedback and review of and response to identified issues. So that's the presentation. Hopefully that was quick. And I think the applicant does have a presentation if council would like to hear that as well.
Thank you, Ms. McGuire. Thank you. Do you want to hear the proponents applicant? If they're here and they want to speak, they can. I don't know that they need to, but
yes.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Good evening. My name is Martin Bruckner. I'm an architect with Arcadis Architects. Our client is here, Reza Cohen.
Thank you.
And we thought we'd say a few words to council and to you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. And we have a little video. If I could get some technical assistance, greatly appreciate that. So they're not seeing it quite yet. Start from the beginning. There it is. So if you're looking out south towards the water from behind, there's a lane that comes in behind that serves this building, existing lane. It's a mid-block site, mixed use, 9 stories, with commercial at grade, a community space on the second floor, and then residential units above, mainly oriented towards the water. We think this is a good fit, this massing, in the existing context and also in the anticipated context of the LAP. Our understanding is that, and you've heard this from staff presentation just before, that the proposed uses and density are consistent with LAP, that hopefully will be passed in future, near future maybe. Just want to stress that the community space is accessed from Bellevue, its own lobby, own elevator access, and it remains open as to what the use would be, but we'd be happy to work with the staff and with council as to what that use would be. So at those,
look at all those pedestrians. It's a busy street. Love to see that many people walking in front of the building.
So, yeah. So if you have any questions, you're happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Hearing none. Councillor Snyder, please. Oh, sorry, Councillor Cassidy.
I apologize, Mayor Sager, for the interruption. We have 2 members of the public that put their name down to speak to this item.
Thank you.
All right, the first name on the list is
sorry, I'm going to just see if Councillor Cassidy has a question for the applicants.
A lot of people do not know the actual history of this site, which I think is exceedingly important in our determination as to whether or not we agree. The site is zoned community use because John Lawson, the John Lawson of John Lawson Park and Gertrude Lawson House, etc. This was his land. This was his farm. And he gave this land to the Masons, who in turn built the Masonic Hall. The entire site is zoned community use. I believe it is the only site in West Vancouver that we have still available. Keyword there, believe, it may not be the full case. And you're only giving us 1 floor of community use. The entire site is zoned community use. And you're giving us 1 floor. So why not more?
Well, I think there's an existing building on site today, which is used as a gym primarily with surface parking. And I'm not aware of the history that you've
Okay,
mentioned.
well, I'll give you the history. The previous owner, before the one you bought from, before him, he came to council in 2014 to 2018 twice and endeavored to bring forward his building, which at that time was only 7 stories. And the council of that day voted it down because the site was zoned community use. And then your predecessor, I believe, tried again and for whatever reason failed. But my question to you is, when the whole parcel of land is community use, why would we just accept one floor? And the reasons the Masonic Hall there is the Masons had the land from John Lawson. And courtesy of the fact the Masons sold the land to another developer, and any succeeding developer has been unable to proceed with their plans, which is why it currently sits there with the Masonic Hall. But my question to you is, why are you only giving one floor and you're getting 10 to your use?
With respect, Councillor, that is a substantial amount of space. That is over 6,000 square feet. And I would suggest that can be put to very good use for the community, within the community, and be part of the community. So my feeling is that it's a substantial benefit, would be a substantial benefit for the District of West Vancouver.
Okay, so we not permit any zoning other than community use. We, the district, could buy the property ourselves and have the entire building of such to ourselves for community use. We could put in an adult daycare there. We could put in a daycare for children. Why are you only giving us one floor?
I believe I've endeavored to answer that question previously. And I understand that what we are proposing is in fact consistent with the anticipated LAP land use densities and how this site could fit into.
Well, my only two words are it's zone community use, and the second word is anticipated LAP.
Right.
Thank you.
Sir, could I just ask, how many square feet is the existing building?
Existing building?
Yes.
I would have to get back to you on that. It doesn't cover the whole site. I believe it's maybe 1.5 stories. Maybe Mr. Cohen knows.
It's around the 2 floors, 7,000.
7,000 square feet. Thank you. Councillor Thompson, please.
That's the exact question I was going to ask. And what is the amount of space you're offering for public? 6,000. Okay. And then are you offering public parking below as well?
No, not even square proposed.
Pardon me?
No.
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli.
I'm just looking at the diagrams in the report. I just want to make sure that the way this is proposed at the moment doesn't interfere with the idea from the LAP of daylighting daylighting Lawson Creek.
The idea of which, sorry?
Daylighting Lawson Creek. I guess, sorry, this perhaps a question better for our staff.
Mr. Bailey, do you have any thoughts on that?
Through the mayor, and David, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this site does not contain Lawson Creek. That's further to the west, I believe.
It's right beside it. It's contiguous with this site. So I just want to make sure that, that's not going to affect, like that I guess what I'm trying to say is the proponents aware of effects that may have.
Through your worship, the creek is located underneath the site adjacent
to the west.
Okay, so just beside it. Okay.
To the west.
Just want to make sure of that. And I note from the drawings that are just presented right now, it looks like an awfully impermeable site. I guess that might get changed a little bit with some public input, but I wonder about that, given our recent weather predictions for the next 100 years. So anyway, I throw that in. I'd like to maybe learn more about that later.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask if you would move aside because I understand we have 2 members of the public who wish to address council.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Seeger. The first name on the list is Deba De Chavez, followed by Maureen O'Brien.
Thank you.
Mr. Chavez.
Hello, thanks for joining us this evening.
Mayor and Council, as a resident of West Vancouver who grew up here, I want to voice my support for the proposed development at 1763 Bellevue Avenue. However, it's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore what's happening in West Vancouver, a community that speaks of renewal but too often stands in the way of it. One of the district's greatest problems isn't development, it seems to be indecision. And that indecision is costing us our vitality, our affordability, and our future. Businesses are struggling to grow under outdated policies and limited opportunity. The cost of living keeps rising, and young families, the foundation of any thriving community, are simply priced out. Additionally, when those who work here can't afford to live here, the system isn't working. That's not a healthy community, that's exclusion by design. Projects like 1763 Bellevue are an opportunity to renew what's aging, to bring new energy to Ambleside, and to create homes for the people who make this community work. This is thoughtful, responsible growth, the kind that strengthens West Vancouver, not changes its identity. It shouldn't be controversial to modernize aging buildings or to encourage mid-rise mixed-use spaces near shops and transit. 1763 Bellevue embodies exactly that, a balanced, well-designed approach that strengthens Ambleside's character while keeping West Vancouver vibrant, inclusive, and economically sustainable. Progress doesn't destroy what we value, it protects it by keeping it alive. And I think it's time we let that progress happen. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And Ms. O'Brien?
Hello, Maureen O'Brien, I'm the Sandra Wave BIA, speaking in support of this project. It is much needed in our commercial core to have some revitalization. When Grosvenor came in, that was supposed to revitalize, and it has done its job at that end, but the rest of Ambleside is in much need of some support. The height is appropriate. It is even less than what was recommended in the LAP. And it does present as 3 stories at street level, so it's attractive at that level, and it maintains its pedestrian friendly scale and fits into the character of Ambleside. The design is unique and distinctive. It's not cookie cutter like other buildings we see, especially in North Vancouver, so it's a little bit of interesting architecturally. It does include an entire floor of community space, which I think is actually more than almost as much anyways as what's there right now. And so that's flexible space that the district can do with whatever they want, whether it's meetings, arts, public use for their choice. And from what I understand, it is zoned as it can also be residential there. It's not just commercial, community use. I think they're able to go up to 6 stories as residential, but I'm sure someone else can correct me on that if I'm wrong. It does add new housing into our commercial district, which we desperately need. More residents in Ambleside means more customers and stronger support for our businesses. This has come forward 3 times, and I do believe we need to look at this. It's a very different site with the BC Hydro across from it. So I think we need to do something, and this kind of ticks all the boxes, because with it being three stories and commercial and community space, sorry, this is really distracting because I keep seeing people moving around on the screen. But anyway, sorry, because it's like the news on there. Thanks. Thank you. Anyway, that's it. We support it. I think that, what was I saying? That once they get over the 3 stories, they're kind of over the BC Hydro. So the building allows the people, the residents there, to be seeing over the BC Hydro, because unfortunately that's not going anywhere. So the BIA supports this. We encourage it to go to a public consultation, and then let's let the public give their feedback. And it might change the design, it might change a few other things, but let's let the public have a chance to say what they want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. Councillor Snyder.
Just a couple of quick comments before I make the motion. So I agree with much of what Mr. O'Brien has said, and I just wanted to confirm my understanding as well is that community use can also include residential use. I believe that the report supported that and confirmed that that was the case as well.
So through the mayor, the site can be developed entirely with residential use. I mean, that's part of the CU zoning allows for that. I think it's up to 6 units with just residential uses.
Right.
I think it's 2 single-family houses essentially through the CU zone, as well as the small-scale multi-housing.
It would be for a ground-oriented dwelling project up to 6 units and 2 stories.
Right, so I have 2 stories and so the ground unit. So I'm just looking at the square footage of the existing building that's there, and it's around 7,000 square feet, give or take. And what's being proposed, being contributed back to the community is 6,000 square feet, which I think is a fair proposition being proposed by the proponent as far as being provided to the community. So I think that you have to take things, and, they talk, Councilor Cassidy mentions, well, it should be all communities. Well, right now it's only zoned for, as you say, up to a maximum of 2 stories of residential, but that could be considered commercial community use. So I think that, that needs to be taken into consideration. I do know that, that there is a proposed LAP in front of us, which has not been adopted yet. So I accept that. Having said that, ever since we've been discussing the LAP over the last several years, I don't recall any, if any, opposition to the redevelopment of this site for residential and for height. I believe all the different LAP area objections have come to other sites in areas. So again, I don't see that there's going to be a lot of objection moving forward with the LAP to this particular site that's being discussed here. Again, moving ahead of the OCP for the LAP. Again, the OCP gives the opportunity for public hearing. I know the argument, well, no, we need to have the OCP where people have the opportunity to speak and say their mind. Well, here, all we're doing is doing the exact same thing, opening it up to the public in specific for this one site. So if people have concerns or issues, they'll certainly be able to deal with it in the public consultation of this particular site. So I don't have any issues with it going ahead of the LAP or the OCP moving ahead. So with those comments, I would like to recommend that the preliminary development proposal outlined within the report titled Preliminary Development Proposal for 1763 Bellevue Avenue, dated September 15th, 2025, from the community planner proceed to public consultation prior to adoption of the Ambleside Town Center Local Area Plan in accordance with Council's preliminary development proposal and public consultation policy.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson.
Thank you. I'm happy to second that with a few comments of my own. I think this is a suitable project to go ahead for public consultation and agree with much of what Councillor Snyder says. I'm thrilled that it is offering a public component in such a prime area. And I'm sure we'll come up with a suitable way to use that space spilling out of the park and revitalizing that part of the street. And I see through our consent agenda items, the LAP is coming back for some discussion. So this will add an interesting dynamic to it. So yes, happy to second this.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli, please.
Just a quick question for staff before I give some other comments, but when's the last time we rezoned and approved a project in all of Ambleside? Just a ballpark guess. Just a ballpark. I'm
Ms.
not gonna
McGuire?
hold you. Just
Sorry, I don't have the date off the top of my head, but it would have been 2195 Gordon, the district-owned site that's close to the community center.
And the last new building in the Ambleside area is at Clyde Avenue and 15th.
And prior to that, it would have been Roger's site.
Right. The one on Clyde and 15th. That's like 4 stories. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just wanted to, yeah. Thank you. And before that, I think it was maybe the Hollyburn infill. That's at least 10 years ago, right? Oh,
Was
yeah.
that a rezoning? That was.
Yeah, that was a rezoning. Anyway, okay, so that just gives us an idea, it's been a long time. Okay, so just in terms of, I'm okay with moving this to the next step, but when I look at the comparison diagram, page 8 of the report, I see the rendering of the 2021 proposal and the rendering of current proposal. Yeah, I would really like to see some improvements in terms of the sort of permeable surfaces and the sort of the greening up of the building. It looks very, very impermeable, if that makes sense to you. I think in our climate, this building at the public realm level needs significant overhangs for pedestrians. My personal pet peeve is walking around and getting rained on when I walk past buildings. This looks much more like sort of California style, which doesn't work here very well. So that's what I would be looking for. I would also be looking for solar panels on the top of this building. There's absolutely no excuse anymore for any new buildings not to have solar panels. So those are my comments about the architecture portion. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Well, I won't be moving this forward to public consultation, not because I do not want to hear what the public has to say, but I see that when you have a 3 stories and then begins the residential component, I want to know what's being done with the second. So there's a storefront on the street level. So what is the second floor? So I would like more than 1 floor. So give us 2, and you may have a conversation with me. So, you know, when you talk about animating Ambleside, I remember when the Grosvenor was coming into its existence, and there was a great fight against that. And the conversation was going to have, it's going to animate Ambleside, it's going to revitalize Ambleside, it's going to do everything known to mankind to Ambleside. Well, the only store by and large that has any success that's happening there is Earl's. And Earl's was just as successful in its former location, and it would be even as successful wherever you stuck Earl's in this community. Most of the Grosvenor building, at least half, is empty. The lights don't go on. And most of the stores that are there they're there for a short time, not a good time, which is why they're there a short time, or they're placeholders. There's nobody going in or out of them. There are 1 or 2 success stories, but by and large, those businesses are struggling. So I would like to see another floor in this building being put to community use. I don't think it's too much to ask, because you'll be making your money on all those residential units over and above. And the former buildings that iterations that came forward, we're looking at 7 and 9. This is a big ask, because you talk to all those people who live up 17th Street and you're about to take away their views. So it's a big ask. And like Grosvenor, I suspect mostly most of the lights won't be going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. I'll call the question. I do feel that this proposal is worthy of further public consultation, and I'm happy to see it go that way. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary? Councillor Cassidy, you wish to be recorded contrary? Thank you. The motion is carried. Item number 7, bylaws. Councillor Cassidy, could I ask you to move this matter along, please?
Yes, I recommend that proposed West Vancouver Municipal Officers Bylaw number 4267, 2002, Amendment Bylaw number 5389, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder, any discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary? Carried. There's no new business. We have a consent agenda item, and I'll pull items 9.3 and 9.4 for further discussion and ask for a motion on the balance. Councillor Snyder.
I'd like to recommend that the remainder of the consent agenda items be recommended as written.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli. Second. Thank you. Discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary? Carried. Item 9.3, Councillor Gambioli.
Right, so this was my question again for our, I guess, our finance department related to the permissive tax exemption. So I just want to be clear. There was an email going back and forth with a few questions from me, but I think I'm still not clear. And I just think maybe the public wants to know. So there are, in the last report, there were 2 recommendations from staff, if I recall correctly, that one of them was to not give an exemption to Collingwood School for their workforce housing, and the other was essentially similar, to not give an exemption to the new Kiwanis building on 22nd for the workforce housing portion. So my question now, the way it seems to be written to me is that those are included. But so can staff just be clear with me that I'm actually, because I would like to exclude them if they're included, but the answer I got, I think they're excluded, but I just want to be sure.
Okay, fair question.
Through the mayor
Thank you.
to Councillor Gambioli, we included all of the applications that we received in the analysis and in the report to show council that they did submit an application. However, in the bylaw itself, they are not included. So there's no details on the workforce housing in the bylaw itself, which is the same as what the Community Grants Advisory Committee had provided.
What the recommendation was from the Community Grants Committee. Okay, so the Collingwood exemptions are excluded, the Kiwanis workforce housing exemptions are excluded.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much. That's my only question and concern.
Mayor Sager, I apologize for the interruption. We do have two members of the public that signed up to speak to 9.3 as well.
Oh, well, okay, let's invite those people to come forward.
Great. One is Michael. I'm afraid I can't read your last name, sir. Mark Wick. I should have
Hello,
known.
Mr.
And
Mark Wick,
Gwendolyn
thanks.
Allison. Mr. Mark Wick, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. With me is Gwendolyn Allison, from St. Anthony's Parish.
Thank
Last time I was here.
You were just here.
You said very kind things about us.
Well, you're very kind people.
Well, but that's remained with me, and I think you captured it perfectly, that our intention is to be a welcoming community of faith. And it's actually an article of faith for us to advance the common good. And so I want to thank you, and through you, council and your staff and the committee members, for the outstandingly supportive and careful process that they took us through. And I recognize that isn't a process that's in evolution. So we just came to express our gratitude.
You're incredibly kind.
For that.
You, gosh.
And as it moves forward, as I understand it, there will be further discussion about the policy in the coming year. And so please count us in.
Thank you. Well, it's extremely kind of you to give up your Monday night to come. It's not common.
The Jays aren't playing right now.
Oh, there you go. Well, thanks very much. Councillor Gambioli, would you like to make the motion, please?
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah, on this one?
Yes,
Okay,
please,
sure. So I
9.3.
recommend that consent agenda item number 9.3 be approved.
As written. Thank
As
you. And
written,
that's
yeah.
seconded by Councillor Snyder. Sure. Thank you. No discussion, question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks so much. Item number 9.4. Who wished to address this one? Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment because I've been getting a number of phone calls and emails. We do recognize that putting paid parking into Ambleside is very complicated with a lot of unintended consequences. And what we're doing this evening is passing what we can easily change and deal with right now, but it isn't where we're stopping. We're continuing to do more work and more consultation to try and make sure this works for our community, to keep our community vital and make sure everyone's welcome and able to access us.
Thank you. And I just on that note, because I think all members of council recognize that the implementation of pay parking has had impacts in the business district and other areas. And we are discussing that with our staff and trying to find creative and positive solutions.
Mayor Seeger, as with the previous item, I have one name signed up for parking fees. My assumption is for this item. Ryan Emerson has signed up to speak.
Mr. Emerson?
No.
No.
He's. I've been instructed by my council here.
You're going to speak when? Oh, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion as written for 9.4.
Yes, I'll propose 9.4 as written.
Okay, that's moved and seconded. I'll call a question in favor. Contrary carried. Thank you. We have, just as you'll note there is no motion. I don't believe there's a motion required on the notice of motion, but Councillor Lambert has given motion on the Ambleside local area plan. And that will come forward at our next council meeting. And that then takes us to reports from mayor and council. I would just like to start by thanking all of the volunteers at Enhance West Van for putting on yet another spectacular pumpkin fest at our recreation center. Unbelievable how year after year they managed to organize the best possible weather. Well-attended event and a lot of fun. It was really great. And I'd also like to just report, I don't know, Pascal, did Christine send you a photo to put up on the screen?
I'm afraid not. I don't have one, no.
Well, as
oh, pardon me. This is for your tour.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yes.
I just wanted to
She
share with
did.
everybody because today, as you may know, I'm
Yes.
vice chair of Metro Water.
Yes.
And today I had the first opportunity. I was the first
There we go.
non-staff member who got a tour of this new incredible facility. And this is just off of just in the Maplewood area in North Vancouver. This is the new piping infrastructure that pumps about 1 billion gallons of water a day from the North Shore to Metro Vancouver, south of Second Narrows. They will actually turn those valves and open this tomorrow. And I've got to tell you, it is really a spectacularly complex, huge facility. And expensive. But I just have to comment because, you know, recently Metro has been getting a lot of criticism, and you look at the management of our water system, and I've got to tell you, I think it is superb. We have some of the finest water quality and distribution arguably in the world. Anyway, this new facility, these pipes, there's 3 of these huge pipes that go down through a tunnel 60 meters under the Second Narrows Bridge. It goes down into unliquefiable soils that can withstand earthquakes, and just an incredible undertaking. So that's my update. Who else would like to, Councillor Gambiola?
Yeah, so just a shout out to the West Van Historical Society. A couple weeks ago, they held their annual barbecue, and that was a huge success. Got a whole new group of sort of younger people on the board, and it's really changed and invited a whole new crowd in there. So that's great. And the other thing of note is that on Friday, Councillor Lambert and I attended the Urban Development Institute luncheon downtown at the Hyatt, and about 1,000 people in the development industry who were extremely nervous and cranky, I would say. And the Premier spoke, and Councillor Lambert and I had very good seats. We were like 2 meters from the front. I don't know how we got those good seats, but anyway, the Premier was my understanding was he was going to speak a lot about housing, but in fact, the sort of MC arguably had a very wide range of questions. So anyways, you know, we represented West Vancouver, and I did meet the Premier and, you know, put in a good word for us, and
thank you.
Tried to put in a good word for us.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Thompson, could I ask for a motion to receive the reports, please?
Sure. I'd like to make the recommendation to receive reports from mayor and council and read the receipt for information.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Snyder. Discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. And now public questions, and Ms. O'Brien.
Maureen O'Brien, I'm a secretary of DIA. I appreciate the comments made that this pay parking and outside parking is affecting our businesses. It is, very much so. And I have a solution. Put a pause on it till May. Get through the winter season. That's the best solution, because I know staff is working on a policy to study the spillover effect, but we already know the spillover effect. It has been 3 weeks of chaos on Bellevue in particular. So I did a quick survey to our businesses on Bellevue and Marine between 13th and 15th, as well as Clyde. There's been a decrease in sales the last 2 weeks in September over the previous years, the same time period, up to 30% in most places. Preliminary reports from some of our nearby businesses have totaled in $52,000 in lost revenue in 2 weeks because of the parking. They're now parking on Bellevue, Marine, Clyde, and Grosvenor, and underneath Grosvenor and Bellevue and Marine, capacity is often at 10 o'clock in the morning. You cannot find a place to park, but the park is quite empty. I have lots of photos if you want them. Shoppers and diners are both finding it frustrating, and employees that park, who used to park in the park, can no longer park there. So they're parking up on the street or having to move their car every couple of hours. I have also done a survey with just the businesses. I have these little tent cards made up, QR code, and I've dropped them off to the businesses on Bellevue and Marine. They only went out on Friday, so I've had about 50 people have already completed the survey. 87% of those surveyed arrived by car. 7% walked and 6% took transit. 74% said it was difficult or extremely difficult to find parking. 47% said it took between 5 to 10 minutes to find parking, and 27% said more than 10 minutes. 73% said that they get frustrated and they consider shopping elsewhere. 67% of shoppers say they have noticed more people parking and walking into the park with their tennis rackets and field hockey equipment. 77% would not support pay parking on Argyle or John Lawson, and 55% of those people were from West Vancouver, 25% North Van, and 20% from Vancouver or elsewhere. So Ambleside Park is not like other parks. It is not like the rest of the parks in West Vancouver. It is not like Kate's Park or even Stanley Park. It is so closely adjacent to commercial. No other parks are like that. So it has to be managed differently. And I understand, like I said, staff is working on a study policy, but we already know that staff needs to work on how to fix it, not study it. So we respectfully ask council to please consider pausing pay parking in Ambleside Park until May 1st, 2026, when you get into your busy summer season, and let us find real solutions to figure out how we're gonna fix the spillover effect.
Thank you, Ms. O'Brien. A couple of requests, if I may.
Yes.
I think it would be wonderful if our local businesses, if you could make a similar type of card and ask the local businesses to help seniors or people that are struggling with technology to get their free parking.
If the district wants to have cards made, I will distribute them. I don't think the BIA should have to pay to have cards made for.
Okay, well.
But I will distribute them, and our members do. If they go into the store, especially in Phoenix and Romantique, I've talked to Lynn and I've talked to Sasha, and Sasha has often helped their customers set it up. A few other businesses have as well. So they'll help if they ask.
Yeah, I think if our local business community could help people that are struggling to get the free
But
parking.
it doesn't matter because there's no parking on Bellevue, because the people that don't live here are parking on Bellevue, and then people that shop don't want to park in the park. So, right?
That was my request. If you could just ask your members to help people. And the
Yes.
other thing I would ask is if you could help us. I spent my Saturday looking at parking across the North Shore.
Mhm.
And the toughest parking by far that I found was in Edgemont Boulevard.
Mhm.
And I'm really interested in what they're doing to alleviate parking there. Literally not a spot. I went just looking at what they're doing in Lower Lonsdale, then Ambleside, Dunder Ave.
Well, if I can just talk a little bit longer. Yesterday I walked the Spirit Trail from Rona to the Auto Mall, and normally there is like the whole street all in front of the brewery district on Lower Esplanade is full. This time, all the streets way up on just below 3rd, which I've never seen a car on because there's not even houses there. It's just all where they built all the new development right below 3rd, was completely full. You could not find a place to park. Everyone was parking there, walking to the Spirit Trail, walking into the Quay, because it's only about a 5-minute walk from there. And the entire Lower Lonsdale was empty. And we're talking free for the first half hour and $1 after that, and people still don't want to pay. I've talked to businesses in Lower Lonsdale, and they are already seeing a decrease in their sales and their revenue because people are not coming in. So it's having a big impact right across. I think people are just tired of it being everywhere they turn, they have to pay for something. And they're only $1. We're at $5.42. So unless you're a resident who wants to park in the park and then walk in to do your shopping, but they don't, they want to park where they need to go. So it's.
Thanks, Ms. O'Brien.
Thank you.
The next name on the list is Edward Pilak.
Mr. Pilak, nice to see you this evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ed Pilak, and I've been a resident of West Vancouver for the last 36 years. I'm here to respectfully ask council approve the immediate construction of outdoor courts, pickleball courts at Glen Eagles. In January 2025, the Pickleball Roundtable voted for the construction of 3 new pickleball courts on an unused dirt bike jump at Glen Eagles. Staff did a great job in providing schematics on how 3 courts could be fit into the property. Most importantly, there's already a budget for the new pickleball courts.
Mr. Pilak, I don't ever want to cut you off, but you might want to come back in maybe 2 weeks.
I'll get to that. On June the 9th, 15 West Vancouver residents, pickleball players, spoke to council expressing their frustration and dismay that staff proposal was changed to 2 pickleball courts. 2 courts don't work for rotational play and is not what the roundtable voted for. Pickleball players are being told to wait for another site, a site which pickleball players and the roundtable did not ask for, a site owned by BC Hydro.
Mr. Pilak, you might want to wait 2 weeks, just see what comes back.
4 months have gone by with no results.
You might just want to wait 2 weeks, Mr. Pilak. I don't know what else. I'll let you finish. It's fine. Please carry on.
Okay. This is the second time that West Bank players, pickleball players, have been asked to wait, to be patient for new courts. The first time was new pickleball courts for Hugo Ray Park. The pickleball community waited for over a year for the proposed pickleball project for Hugo Ray. Our mayor did a great job trying to get it, and we don't blame anybody. Things happen, but the reality is we waited over a year. There is a proven need for new pickleball courts in the western part of the district. We have a site, we have a budget. What are we waiting for? How much longer do we have to wait? Will it become another Hugo Ray? Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Pilak. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Okay.
The next name on our list is David Jones.
Mr. Jones. Let me guess, Mr. Jones, you're going to talk to us about parking. It's always good to see you, sir.
Mayor and council, for those of you who don't know me, my name is David Jones. I'm the owner of Jones and Company Bespoke Picture Framers at 1445 Bellevue and a West Vancouver resident at 1462 Gordon Avenue. On most mornings, especially Sunday ones, since pay parking was initiated in the Ambleside Park on September 15th, the parking in the Ambleside business area below Grosvenor on Argyle Avenue, Bellevue Avenue, Marine Drive, and Clyde Avenue is completely full. For 2 years, I have spoken with you about the need for parking enforcement in the Ambleside area, the creation of a dedicated parking division in the West Vancouver Bylaw Department, which was disbanded in 2018 for reasons I'm still unaware. I spoke to you about the potential impact of paid parking in Ambleside Park would have on the Ambleside business community, where no parking enforcement is provided. I met some of you in your offices, and I've stood here in council or sat telling you what was obvious, that people will park in the Ambleside business area where parking is free and unmonitored rather than paying $5.40 an hour to park in Ambleside Park. What is said would happen has happened. You never consulted with the businesses of Ambleside before executing paid parking in Ambleside Park, or how this initiative would affect the businesses, how you would deal with parking spillover, and how the spillover would exacerbate an already short supply of parking in the Ambleside business area. Ambleside Park was used by park goers, pickleballers, field hockey families, soccer families, tennis players, fishermen, crabbers, and some staff from the Ambleside businesses. Now they're all in the business area of Argyle Avenue, Bellevue Avenue, Marine Drive, and Clyde Avenue, with some now parking in the residential area north of Clyde, which will eventually cause the residents to complain about their parking being taken away too. You have directed staff to study the spillover effect over the winter when the demand for parking is greatly reduced. This will no doubt give you the results you want, that paid parking is not affecting parking in the Ambleside business area. Why not try the survey over the spring and summer months? Finally, it is painfully clear that the revenue gained from paid parking is coming directly at the expense of sales, foot traffic, and the vitality of the Ambleside business area. I fear that if these businesses fail and stores become vacant, it will not matter to you, because as long as property tax continues to flow from Ambleside's landlords, the real community impact will be ignored. Ambleside is more than just revenue. It's a community, a destination, and a livelihood of countless small business owners. The current approach to paid parking is putting all this at risk, and it is imperative that council reassess and act now before the damage is irreversible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Anyone else?
Thank you, Mayor Singer. We have a
Is
few
that
more.
it?
That's it. Got it. Thank you.
The next name on the list is Sandy Hogarth, followed by Kristen Fernandez.
Thank you. Ms. Hogarth.
Hi, Sandy Hogarth. I own Oceanside Medical Aesthetics at 1447 Bellevue. I am also a West Van resident behind White Cliff Park at 7270 Arbutus Road. I have been living with paid parking in White Cliff Park for far too long, with a lot of problems that nobody seems to understand. Number one, I live on a resident exempt street. On a Saturday and Sunday, anybody can park there. Do you want to know why? Nobody can ticket them. ICBC's closed. You cannot remove a car all along our streets. I pay a high tax. So now with my business on Bellevue, and you putting it into Ambleside, which makes no sense next to businesses, there's no control. There's never been any control. The parking is ridiculous, and they all just park up the streets. You go to White Cliff Park and you will find them all along Marine Drive, taking the residents parking along Marine Drive. They come home on a Sunday afternoon. We got nowhere to park. They don't have driveways that they can get into. So I don't understand why West Van, for $5.40 an hour, which is a ridiculous amount of money, where I can go downtown and pay $2 an hour. Why are we so high? And where does the money go? I don't have a light in White Cliff Park at 4:30 in the afternoon in the winter. I can't walk through the park, it's pitch dark. It's not safe. I play tennis at West Van Tennis Club. I can't walk out of West Van Tennis Club into your public parking without a light. Where does this money go? Is it just to fund the city? Or is it to help the parks? Because I don't understand what's going on. And now you're going to take it all out of my business.
We can provide you the list of the parks and the money that is being spent. The council did commit that the monies that were raised from pay parking will be spent in the parks.
I haven't seen it,
Well, we can send you the list.
but I haven't seen any improvements. What's an improvement?
Yeah, we're not gonna get, I'm not gonna get into a
Alright.
debate tonight, but
And
I'm
if you
more
could
than happy to.
advertise
I'm more than happy, if you want to email me, I'll get the
that
list.
the parking is free to West Van residents. I don't see anything being promoted.
It's
that
on the
it's free.
signs.
You go find it on a sign. You gotta look really hard. And it doesn't say it's free.
Actually, it says West Vancouver resident parking pass.
Parking pass.
Yeah. We've put it out pretty much everywhere. It's on our website.
Well,
It's-
I was always told it was $79 a year. So I
No.
never even I never even
No,
went into it.
It's free.
Well, it needs
And-
to
and
be
I'm not
advertised so
here-
people
I'm here to-
understand.
We're here to listen to you, not
Okay.
to debate, but I would
So I'm
really,
mostly concerned about Ambleside. And what we're going to do with Ambleside parking that is taking up, now all my clients are late for appointments. You throw off our entire day. Everybody gets mad when everybody gets late because they come down, they can't find parking. This is just something we should be privileged to. Do you want to give us designated parking? So that we, as the owners, have some parking for clients and businesses? Like what is going to change for us so that we can continue to do business and pay taxes?
That's your time, ma'am.
I would encourage you and Ms. O'Brien and anybody else who has a business in Ambleside. Tomorrow at the Hyatt Hotel in Vancouver, there is a parking convention and I'm going because in my building, I'm installing a parking app. I feel very strongly that those of us who own businesses or buildings do not put reserves up and we allow our customers to park in the buildings. Ms. O'Brien and I went and walked through Ambleside. I think we found about 800 empty parking stalls on the weekends. And it's something that needs to be addressed.
Well, maybe the park people need to go in those 800 spots and leave the
Sure.
businesses to have the convenience of us being able to park on Bellevue since we're the ones paying the taxes.
And that's exactly what the app I'm going to put on mine is going to encourage people to do, I hope.
But it needs to be enforced. I don't see any enforcement around White Cliff, to be honest. You take pay parking from construction people for 2 years. They've parked in front of my house Monday to Friday. And I can't even get somebody at top of my driveway, a cleaner, a pool cleaner. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. The next speaker on the list is Kristen Fernandez.
Kristen Fernandez. Ms. Fernandez, thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Dear Mayor and Council, my name is Christine Fernandez. I'm the owner-operator of Da Vinci's Home at 1461 Bellevue Avenue, West Vancouver. I'm here this evening as a business owner frustrated over pay parking adjacent to free commercial parking. Although I have submitted multiple letters to Mayor and Council, I am again voicing my growing concern that pay parking in Ambleside and the intention of adding pay parking in John Lawson Park, Argyle Avenue between 15th and 16th and Dundrave Park is having a detrimental effect on our businesses. Let us be candid. Who in their right mind would willingly pay approximately $5 an hour to park in the recreational areas to attend a sports event, walk the seawall, or enjoy the beach when free parking is mere steps away? These free spaces are intended to encourage the patronage of our local shops, services, and restaurants. The suggested policy not only defies common sense to me, but also risks punishing small businesses and the broader community. Our businesses and livelihoods cannot become collateral damage as new streams for potential revenue are explored. In the 30 years that Da Vinci's Home has been part of the Ambleside community, we have weathered many economic downturns and setbacks that have not defeated us. With hard work, perseverance, and the ability to pivot to the point of exhaustion, we've survived the tech crash in the early 2000s, 2008 global financial crisis. We actually managed to expand our business that year. Significant financial losses from COVID, which we will never recoup. And at present, creating resilience by diversifying our business to mitigate the severity of the economic downturn. That said, our business cannot survive paid parking in Ambleside. We have experienced a downturn in sales of approximately 30% in the last 2 weeks of September compared to the same period in 2024 and 2023. If these figures become the new normal, we will need to make some hard decisions. Our community deserves a fair and pragmatic resolution to the mercenary implementation of paid parking that is not at the expense of businesses. We need inclusive and meaningful engagement with the district to find a resolution to this issue. I do, however, worry that our presence and prosperity may be largely irrelevant, since business closures and empty commercial units will not impact the district's commercial property tax revenue stream. I therefore support the ADBIA's recommendation to pause paid parking until solutions can be found.
That's your time, ma'am.
Thank you for your time and your consideration in this matter.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. We've got a few more names on the list. The next is Hamid Reza Marashi.
I've
Mr.
not seen
Marashi.
anyone stand up.
Nope. Okay, the next name on the list then is Masaki Matsumoto. Okay, and the next name on the list is Charles Meng, M-E-N-G. Two more names. Tim Webb, followed by Nigel Malkin.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Ryan Emerson. Thank you, sir. Good.
Thank you. Mr. Emerson, thanks for joining us this evening.
Mayor and council, appreciate the opportunity. $1,000 a day isn't a small figure. September 15th through September 28th, Earl's Restaurants is down that figure per day, a total of about $16,000. If we extrapolated that over the year, I don't think it's very palatable to any business to be losing $400,000 in revenue. Beyond that impact, that's 400 shifts per year of working individuals in our restaurants. We just lost 81 full-time jobs. The tips that those individuals are giving up working in that restaurant is $81,000 a year. Per individual, they just took a $400 pay cut as well as losing jobs. Respectfully, North Van Earls generated $6 million per year in revenue. The West Van location is bringing in $12 million, a significant improvement in a prime location that brings community together. It's more than a park. It's not just a business that would survive anywhere it goes. I sit through the restaurant some mornings, some afternoons as it slows down, and I watch individuals go into the Grosvenor and bring their dog for a walk on the beach. I watch individuals unpack to go to the parks with their kids to play sports. The individuals that are in the business community area right now are not the individuals that are here to support the business. They're the individuals dodging the parking at $5 an hour. I support Maureen and the Business Improvement Association, and we ask that you heavily consider adjustments and consider those adjustments as soon as possible. The lifeline of businesses is on the line, and jobs are on the line for individuals that may or may not live in West Van, but just the same, jobs will be lost. Thank you.
Thanks very much, sir.
Tim Webb, followed by Nigel Malkin.
I'm glad to see you here this evening, Mr. Webb. I'm hoping you'll join me tomorrow morning
At the pay conference thing?
The pay parking might encourage you to open your gate so people could park in your parking lot.
I'll answer that question without wasting my time. We have leases and the leases all have fixed parking and then we can't adjust it. We're locked in our leases, so. You know, I think everybody here has said a lot. One of my big questions here is, my understanding through the research Maureen has done, and I'm assuming it's accurate, is in 2017, we collected $450,000 in bylaw enforcement on parking. And then it just kept going down and I've heard stories that it's because of car cameras and this and that. The bottom line is, in 2017, we collected $450,000 in parking tickets. My understanding now it's give or take 200,000. That makes no sense to me. I know Chuck Walker's been calling the city for 10 years saying, get the bylaw guys down here to enforce it. I mean, it's a revenue stream that's sitting there that we're ignoring. And I find that really hard to swallow. I mean, that's mismanagement. And I deal with the staff in the city in the district all the time. They're wonderful people. I'm not calling anybody out, but it's money that's sitting there that has been proven to be available. $450,000 in 2017 is worth more than $500,000 now. My understanding is we're going to give all this to Impark. They're going to raise $1 million. We're giving 50% of it to Impark. So we're getting $500,000. These are just, I could be off on some of these numbers. It's what I've heard. To me, it's like if we just enforced the bylaws we have, we'd be at the same place. So, I'll leave that. My understanding is the spillover survey is going to be April. I don't think anybody can really say that's a realistic survey, right? I mean, we're a beach community. It's, our revenues in our stores are about 40% more in the summer than, or in our store anyways, 30% more in the summer than the winter. So, the winter impact that they were talking about will be much more dramatic in the summer. People say, well, we'll just, and when it comes up in April, we'll vote to extend it. That makes me nervous because clearly a winter survey is not a good survey. Why wait until the people have gone away, the fight's gone, and nobody's here to talk about it? I would extend the survey. The 540 is just way too high, right? Any human being that's normal won't park in Ambleside Park when they can park across the street. Maureen's point's very good. It's not a normal park. It's right across the street from our retail, right? I mean, I don't care how much money you have. If you can drive 50 feet for free, you're going to park 50 feet for free. There's been talk, well, once we have the thing, we're going to enforce our bylaws so that people, there's turnover in front of our stores. I have a tough time believing that because we've been calling for 10 years and we're not enforcing our bylaws. All the other points are made. I'm not going to go on about it. But the one thing that I would say is, and I've said this before, I mean, our building pays 3 times the residential tax rate. So we're footing a lot of money to be in this community. We made the choice to be there. Chuck made the choice to be in this building, to build the building. So we accept that. But the retailers have struggled, and that's why the BI was created. So now we have $500,000 or plus of additional taxes being levied on the commercial properties to help the business that are struggling. And the solution that we have right now is to take away the parking, which is going to kill them. And I'm just highly, highly opposed to this. I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. It has been for a long, long time. I feel that you need to reduce those rates by a whole bunch or put it on pause. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Mr. Malcolm. Thanks for joining us this evening.
I have nothing prepared because, of course, I had to work all day, as you all have, I'm sure. Pay parking hasn't, bylaw enforcement has not been enforced in the Ambleside area for probably almost 30 years to any effect. People park in front of my business and it's been bad for years, of course, but now that we have pay parking in Ambleside Park, the people that don't want to fork out the $5 an hour, they come and park in front of the businesses in my block, and everyone's been affected. Earl's has been devastated. There again, they do more in sales than me, so maybe I'm more devastated than they are, but my business is losing money every day. Made it through the pandemic, made it through the crash of 08, made it through all these other things, and it's going to be destroyed over the district going and picking up $5 from people an hour for parking. Thank you very much for destroying a business my family's been in for 101 years. Pay parking on Ambleside should be stopped. And only once you actually have proper enforcement of the bylaws for parking in front of the businesses in the business district, then you can think about putting pay parking in. But to put it in when there's no enforcement was an absolute slap in the faces. All these businesses that have come to speak today and people that are unable to because they've been thrashed because they've worked hard all day and they've gone home because they put in 12 hours, like many of these small businesses do. Shame on you all. When this came up, I said, yeah, go ahead, but you have to have bylaw enforcement. We have no bylaw enforcement, zero, none. And it's an insult to every one of us. Shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. You're destroying people's lives. I know I have worked countless hours. The pandemic destroyed things. It made me lose some weight. That was good. But other than that, I've been working 10, 11, 12 hours a day, 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week for 5.5 years. And now you throw this at us. Shame on you all. Get bylaw enforcement immediately. Or you have to get rid of pay parking because it is destroying your business community, you're destroying people's lives. I'm lucky I have other businesses. I can still survive. But a lot of people that have small businesses in Ambleside do not have that luxury. And they'll close and then we'll end up with another realtor or a currency exchange or something else open up instead of a family business that's been there for a very long time. I bought the business 35 years ago and we actually have good bylaw enforcement. There's bugger all now. So maybe you need to go and figure things out. And I'll say it once more, shame on you all, because you haven't lived up to the bargain for businesses in West Vancouver.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Mr. Manager, any comment on bylaw enforcement?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through to council.
No, the manager speaking, you can, everybody has an opportunity to speak, but we do it in order. Thank you.
I'd like to first say I really appreciate listening to the audience and understanding what they have to say. I am not going to criticize or critique what I believe they're taking here as anecdotal evidence, what they believe, what they see on a continuous basis. It's important for me and staff to continue to receive the information, process it and answer it appropriately where we can. As you know, I've been working at the district for almost the 35 years that one of the speakers said that they've been watching it. Been very familiar with the policing of the district and the bylaw enforcement of the district. I can say that our bylaw enforcement team are very busy with numerous complaints that span all sorts of bylaw violations or infractions or allegations concerning that. There's lots of reasons why there may not be somebody either responding to a complaint right away or being there to promptly deal with an issue. I won't get into specifics. I can honestly say that I have great faith in the bylaw team. Do I wish I could double the bylaw team in terms of a budget ask to have 8 more people assigned to bylaw? I wish that that could happen, but I understand the responsibility I have to have an efficient and thoughtfully fiscally responsible bylaw operation. So I think I'll leave it at that for tonight, but I certainly do want to convey that I am listening and I'm following up on anything that I hear, good and bad, to ensure that I have the most accurate and truthful information on the subject to make good decisions on. I don't believe there's anything else I'll add unless Ms. Dallas has anything to.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Dallas?
Through the mayor, I'll just add that echo what the municipal manager had to say, and that the bylaw department has been working at a 2 bylaw officer deficit. So we have 5 out of 7 positions filled currently, and we're actively trying to fill those positions. The position is hard to attract and it's hard to retain as well, just given the nature of the work. So just wanted to note that. Thanks.
I do want to just comment because I was, as I mentioned, in Ambleside on Saturday and went to Mr. Malkin's business because I had to pick up some dry cleaning, and I did witness a person park their car in a 30-minute zone and then get out of the car, and his very nice staff member said, "You watch, she'll be going in to get her hair done." And that's exactly what happened. So I get the frustration, particularly when they're sitting there watching somebody who is so inconsiderate that they would park their car in a 30-minute zone knowing full well they're going to be in there for 2 hours. Frustrating as can be. Anyway, now we had other people, and then this person here, you didn't sign up on the list, but that's okay. Is there anyone else who signed on the list though first?
Other than the names I read out previously, no, Mayor Sager.
Okay. Sorry, no, that's fine. We don't need to sign up on the list now, but we always like to go in order. So I like to make sure the people have signed. Yes, madam. You'd be next. No, please come up here, please. We ask if you just give your name and introduce yourself.
So I'm Chen Lee. I'm very used to saying this. We're at 715 King George's Way because I call bylaw a lot. Like if you pulled out my phone, I literally called them today. Now, the amount of times that I called bylaw, literally there was a bylaw infraction, a car, a construction vehicle or a construction truck literally took up a lane that like, you know, it's a 2-lane street, King George's Way, 2-lane street, right? Like he took up the lane going this way from Robin Hood Road going to Jim Pattison's house. If bylaw enforcement came soon enough, a ticket would have resulted. You would have gotten, I don't know, $100-something from that. Like I called bylaw enforcement quite a lot, but by the time, you know, they've gotten to my location, the car left. That was like maybe 2 hours ago. But at the time when I called, if they had responded, that would have been a ticket for you guys. And it literally is somebody not following the bylaw. And if the bylaw officer had attended, there would have been a ticket issued, right? And $5 parking per hour compared to that, I think there were so many times where I called bylaw, like literally that's all I do. I leave my name, I leave my address, and you know, because it has to be non-anonymous, and I leave my phone number. But by the time I get a call back from the bylaw line, it's, I don't know, 2 hours later, and the car has left. But I mean, they blocked traffic for that time without a, you know, those sign people. And that's not okay. Like, this is what I'm noticing at my house. I don't know how often, but quite often, like I could pull up my phone record and I called bylaw today, literally 2-something when I went out to go pick up my kids. I'm like, great, it's 1-lane traffic again. So
sorry
if
to
you
hear
guys could
that.
have more.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. Sorry. Ms. Walker?
Thank you, Mayor Sager. And I'm sorry I'm so late, I haven't signed up, but the one thing I would say, you know, when I came back to West Vancouver in 1999, I joined the tourism committee here in West Vancouver under Colette Parsons, who was a planner for the city and really great woman. And Nora, you probably remember her. The one thing that we've promised as a district, as a community to our business community was that we would try and support them and try and create an environment that was pro-business. And I think that what's happening right now with the pay parking in Ambleside, and obviously you've heard it from everybody who spoke earlier, was that it's really creating a spillover issue for Bellevue in particular and Marine Drive. I was downtown in Yaletown on Saturday, and I spent $5 for 2 hours to park on Homer Street. And when you think about all of the sports community that comes into Ambleside, those field hockey players, the baseball players, the parents are starting to park on Bellevue and Argyle. And I don't know if the ultimate plan is to just pull the pay parking all the way through Bellevue and Argyle. But again, we need to protect the business community in Ambleside. And I think even Tim and I walked for the Lionsgate Hospital Foundation fundraiser on Sunday morning, and friends of ours who were on the walk as well parked in Park Royal and then just came on the path and joined the walk. And I wonder when Park Royal finally says, okay, you guys are paying for parking, you're doing pay parking in Ambleside, we're going to start doing pay parking in Park Royal, or they're going to start ticketing. I know InPark's managing their lots now. I just want to think long-term. We've had so many struggles from the business community through the lack of development, the lack of resources, through COVID, through everything else. I think, is Christine here? So Christine's been here for decades, and there's been all sorts of promises by council, by the community on everything we're going to do to really kind of create a really vibrant environment. And the last few years since the Grosvenor development, I know a lot of people have a problem with that, but Bellevue has started to shine, between Fred's and Crema and Earl's and Organic Love and Da Vinci's, which has withstood everything, and Oceanside and Jones Frame Shop and our new cheese shop. Like, we're really starting to get something going. And it would really be depressing to me if, because a very short-sighted need for revenue, and I'm sure there's other places you can find revenue, or at least get the house in order and start, going back to 2017 when your bylaw officers were ticketing up to $450,000.
That's time, ma'am.
Okay. So I just want you to really, really, really think deeply about what you're doing to the business community in Ambleside. It's important for our community. It's important for our businesses. Thanks.
Thanks very much.
Sorry, one final comment.
Sorry, we've got another gentleman who hasn't spoken yet. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and sorry this doesn't fully apply to this what matter. I'm just going to be real quick, 30 seconds.
Could I just ask for your name, sir?
William Drew Hogarth.
Thank you, Mr. Hogarth.
Thank you, sir. I'm the project manager of the floods that happened on Bellevue. We have a permit outstanding for 2419 Bellevue. They've been under fire watch for roughly a year now on something to do with a fire safety system that was never affected by the flood. These residents have had fire watch within their building the whole year, and the business is below grade, cannot get back into business because the permits can't be issued.
Sir, I actually asked our staff on this because a couple of the residents came in and saw me. And so I think I should follow up with you. I think there may be something you need to know. I think it's more appropriate offline, so.
Thank you, sir.
If you want to just stay for the end of the meeting.
Thank you. I'll go tell my daughter who's in the car.
Sorry, it'll only take a second, but.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Malcolm.
Yeah, the final comment, the spillover survey being done after the summer is rather like when we have these wonderful shadow things for a developer. They're always like October through May and not prime, or sorry, the shadows end usually in October and don't give you a full effect. So we're going to do a study on the spillover from Ambleside Park at a time of the year when most people aren't really using Ambleside Park. So the businesses are suffering now. Well, it's September and October, and then November and December when lots of people aren't in Ambleside Park. The problem isn't, and the survey ends in May or April or whatever. The problem's going to be June, July, and August when everyone goes down there with their kids and they spend the whole day there, and they're going to go and park in front of my shop and everyone else's shop and in front of Earl's, and they're going to take their kids and their stuff down the beach. And unless you have proper bylaw enforcement, which you have not had in 30 years, it's not going to really help. And this study to do it now is just taking money and flushing it down the toilet because it's not when people are using Ambleside Park. You know that, I know that. I'm sure the city manager knows that and everyone else in the room knows that. So it's just, again, you're hiring a full-time person, you're doing the study at the wrong time of year, you have no bylaw enforcement. Basically, it's a deck of cards. Let's just screw every business in Ambleside. Shame.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm.
I'm gonna end this, I think. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I met with the senior manager of bylaw. I think the world of the bylaw department. They are fabulous. Yes, they don't always come right away, but Matthew always has lots of time for me. We spent over an hour together on Bellevue. He actually managed to issue several $100s worth of tickets while he was with me. So I've got nothing. I know you need more, and I know we need more on Bellevue. My ask today had nothing to do with bylaws and everything to do with the fact that we need to please pause this because this spillover is happening and bylaws can't fix that because you are allowed to park for 2 hours on Bellevue and go to the park. No one's disputing that. But the fact is no one's parking in the park anymore. And that is the real problem. Secondly, I just wanted to, and I know I've brought this up before, but I've never really gotten an answer. I know residents are exempt because they pay taxes, but our property owners pay taxes and they're not exempt. So it would be nice.
Sorry?
Our property owners, you have to have a business address. Your insurance has to be a West Vancouver address in order to be exempt. So
Right.
someone who is not a West Van resident, but owns property or pays their taxes as a business owner is
That's-
not exempt.
That's really simple. They can just change the registration on the car.
But I've
Take-
been told yeah, they have to change it to be a West Vancouver address. Yeah, your
It
license.
could be your
and your-
business. It can be your business
And your
address.
insurance. So right now that's not, it's not how it works. So it would be
Okay.
nice to get that fixed. And finally, I know I do need to introduce Lynn Rockwell. Because Lynn's iconic in the retail business. She's been in business for 40 years. She didn't want to speak tonight. But she's had
thanks for
businesses
coming
at-
this evening.
She's had businesses at Park Royal. She was, used to be on Marine Drive at 1502 Marine Drive. She's now very well known at Romantique in Phoenix. And I just appreciate her time coming out and all the other businesses because it really is having such an impact. And I'm
Okay,
working
Ms.
so
O'Brien,
hard.
we've got it. Trust me, members of council have listened to everyone tonight.
hope you-
We're very sympathetic to the issue. We'll try and find a
And
resolution.
I will put all of this in an email to you and then hopefully by next council meeting, you guys can have come up with, yes, we're going to pause this. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Any further questions or comments this evening? Hearing none, I'll ask Councillor Cassidy for a motion to adjourn, please.
Recommend that the October 6, 2025 regular council meeting be adjourned.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gambioli. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks for joining us, everyone, this evening. And sir, I'll just take a minute.